So you told me before the call that you've listened to the Creators Our Brands podcast. I don't feel like doing the intro today. So how about, since you claim that you're a fan and you listen to the show, what's the intro to the Creators Our Brands podcast?
You know what? I think I'd like to give my own intro here.
Okay,
As a fan of the show. So
okay.
I'd like to give just a little tidbit into what I've learned as a fan of the show, and what I think is a great way to start it is being a fan of this show. I actually listened, I think, to the first episodes that I started listening to was in January. That's kind of when I really began to take serious, I want to become a creator and I want to make this a full-time job. So I kind of tuned in to the show around January, and since then I've actually installed, I'd say 3 or 4 unique lessons from the show into my actual business now that has set me up to become a full-time creator at this point in time. So I think the best way to start an intro would just be thank you. Thank you for
my
the help.
Man. Yo, thank you, because I'm gonna clip that and we're gonna use that to promote the show. But honestly, man, that's the goal. That's the goal. With the conversations, and it's really amazing to actually have this, be talking to an actual creator that has taken insights from the show, but then obviously put your own spin on it times 1,000 to create this really cool brand that you have with yours that I'm excited to discuss with you today. Now, the show is Creators Are Brands, the show that helps or discovers how storytellers are building brands online, and that's exactly what you're doing. And my name's Tom Boyd. I'm the host, and I just get way too hyped and I geek out about these stories of creators so that we can pull what they've done well and apply them to what we're doing. So talk to me. In January, how many followers did you have?
In January, I think I had 500 followers on the account that I'm on now.
And right now you have on TikTok you have 200,000, and on YouTube you have 120,000.
Yes, sir. Sounds about right.
And so I'm curious, when you're creating these, and primarily your way of getting that has been short form video content.
Exactly. Yeah, I've strived mainly with short form. I've teased long form here and there, but it's really all about short form.
And then, so for your TikTok, or when you're optimizing your videos, are you editing with one of the 2 platforms in mind, and then just putting that content on the other one? Like, which one are you thinking about when you're creating these videos?
So I think about TikTok my main focus is TikTok when I make these videos, but I've come to, in my process, being able to incorporate things that I find that work well on YouTube Shorts into TikTok as well. Like, TikTok now is promoting over, you can get 3-minute plus videos now, but on YouTube Shorts, you can only have 60 seconds. So your broad of your information has to fit within that YouTube short timeline, and that's kind of the parameters I go around is grab the attention for TikTok, but build the structure as a YouTube short.
Wow, I might make that the title of the show. Okay, cool. So I'm excited to go into this because, you've kind of mastered short form storytelling, or is from what I can tell, you do a great job at capturing an idea in a succinct way, and specifically you picked a niche. So your accounts are called All Hail B-Ball, the untold B-Ball stories, what you don't see on ESPN. I love that as a tagline. And one of my favorite things is you sort of niche down a couple different ways. So you're not just sports, you're not just basketball, you're the untold stories. You're the things you don't show on ESPN. And you've kind of done a good job of kind of posting up from that point of view. Tell me about your thinking of creating that niche within the short form video content world.
Yeah, so as a sports fan and as, I guess, a sports creator now, I was, obviously a big fan growing up. I watch ESPN every day. I still watch ESPN in the morning. Not just ESPN, but the other major sports networks. And as a fan, I've always just kind of wanted more of what is going on behind the scenes. I love to hear the drama, especially within the NBA. I love to hear stories of actual athletes and giving them a platform. So that's where it kind of came from, was everyone can post what's happening in the news, what everybody knows, but how can you take it one step further to bring something to the table that not everybody's going to hear? And how can you then put your own twist on it, I think is the fun part of it all.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to learn from not your process. So I think the way I want to break this down is how you go from idea to publishing. And I think that your process, the way I'm going to ask the questions is so that it doesn't really matter what your niche is, what your focus is. Like you can extract the information like that actually helps your process from how Cullen approaches his. So when you see an idea, right? What is your process for capturing ideas? Are you just kind of you having conversations, watching the news, scrolling Twitter, and you have like an ongoing like take me from like idea to like writing it down, like where are you getting that idea,
Yeah.
where are you writing that thing?
So I guess it kind of started with mostly the ideas. I had a friend group back in college that was huge into sports and huge into different theories, and we'd always be chopping it up like different ideas, and that's kind of where it started. Was like I wanted to just present what we'd be talking about. But now at this point, I've turned it into an actual process to be able to sustain like posting every day with this stuff. So
Are you every day?
I was every day up until about 3 weeks ago when I took a few days off. So now I'm trying to go 5-6 times a week.
Dang. Yo, my man, let's go. And then are you doing the whole thing? Idea, filming, editing, publishing.
Mm-hmm. I do it all.
Cool. So the ideas on the flow, like you're getting insights. Are like where you have to like kind of scour the internet?
Some days are scour. At this point, I've created a kind of twofold list, I guess you could say. With one is like what I'd call evergreen content. With if people listening don't know what that is, it's content that can be used whenever necessary. Yep. It's not like doesn't have a time frame around it. So I've got a list of just evergreen ideas that I keep handy. But now, I mean, my niche is basketball oriented. So now, like in the off season, there's not as many headlines that you're talking about each day. There's not as many different stories.
I'll tell you what, if one sport does a good job at keeping the momentum in the off season, it's definitely basketball. And I think it has a lot to do with creators like yourself.
I'd agree. There's always something you could find a way. The NBA, I think, has some of the biggest personalities, and that's kind of why I chose to go down this path. Is I think it's the most entertaining kind of professional sport out there. But yeah, that's kind of what I do for my ideas. I have evergreen, and then I have things that are happening right now, like what's the big dramatic story of the day, and how can I incorporate that and kind of build a story around it. I always try to pull one fact that people don't know. That's kind of my idea process. Is if I could see one fact in a story that not everybody's going to know, then I'm like, all right, that's worthy of creating a whole script out of this.
Now, is this in your notes app or is this in like Notion? Like where are you actually putting them?
Okay, so I want to say that I have a list in Notion because I technically do, but it's mostly Notes app.
Dude, it's so convenient.
It's just right there.
It's right there. So now you have the idea. You're like, okay, this is a sweet, juicy idea. LeBron and his kids are on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Like, how do you start scripting this?
Yeah, so I think I'm a big research guy into each video. I at least want to find, like I said, I want to have one piece of evidence or one factoid or just some piece of information that I can provide my audience with throughout the video. So what I will do after I get the idea is then I start looking into the story and how can I create my own storyline around it. I think it's important to come into everything with a storyline because if it's worthy of creating a video about, then it's worthy of being able to tell a story. And so that's what I try to do is I'll look for the next step of evidence or the next fact and then try to build my story off of that.
You're a journalist, man. And now do you have any background in that, or is this all kind of exploring your curiosity as a creator?
I think I wouldn't say I have a background journalist-wise. I've always been a decent writer, I guess, in school. I went to a liberal arts school, so we had to write all the time. But I think this is more about my journey as a creator, and this is more about my just passion to storytell and to work in sports and provide an athlete with a platform. I was a college athlete myself, so
what'd you play?
I played football, actually.
What position?
Tight end.
My dude.
Yes, sir.
Were you nice?
I'd like to say I was. I was decent. I was a good player.
All right. I feel like tight end's a fun position to play because you get to block some plays, get down and dirty with it, but then you also get to pop out and get some touches every now and then.
It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Well, so okay, you come from the world. Like, I love the idea of you turning up like the group chat. I think there's so much content in group chats, right? Like for any creator that's listening, and I love that you're following just a passion. You're like, I had a curiosity around this. I wanted to explore storytelling. We're already talking about this in the group chat, and I want to just turn the volume up on this. I think that it's good to, maybe for anyone listening, get a couple like little like niche group chats going, around specific topics. If you like hiking, get a hiking group chat, and then just see what actually bubbles up from that, and start building content around that.
Just see where it goes. Everyone has a story they want to tell. And what's better than like, you sitting down, say you're like a high school kid, you're sitting down in the lunchroom after a long day of class, and you're chopping it up about your favorite topics, your favorite sports. Like that's the information that people want to hear. Like you're going to get headlines, but like you want to hear your personal opinion, your side of the story. And I think that's a great idea. Let's get some group chat channels going on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Now, dude, and just so we're clear, 120,000 followers on YouTube is no joke. Like for not even optimizing for that, right?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I think
that's a valuable asset that you've built there.
Yeah, there was a point in time where I was really grinding, trying to learn the TikTok algorithm, trying to figure out what this short form media thing is. And I think it's all kind of compiled into one that is just, my YouTube channel gets more views than my 200,000 follower TikTok account right now. And it's strictly from shorts.
Would you say, like, what was your biggest jump on YouTube? Like, was there like a video or two?
There was a span of, I want to say this was probably 3 months ago or so. There was a jump where I went from about 50,000 subscribers to, I'd say, 75, 80 within like a few weeks.
Yep.
And it all came from, I had 2 or 3 videos that like popped off on the algorithm. And so I doubled down on that exact style, that type of story, and just hit it like that every day for the next, 2 or 3 weeks. And that's where I really saw the most growth. Was I analyzed what did well. I had 2 or 3 videos do it. I replicated it in different fashion, and I think I gained 30, 40,000 subscribers in a few weeks.
That's a great lesson. I know so many people, including myself, that like we're like, oh, like we want to be creative, so we want to be known as being creative. So if I do the same thing over and over again, I won't be perceived that way. But like there is a little bit of playing the game where it's like, wait, this is working, right? Like for me, I'm like, oh, I did that video, I gotta switch it up now. But like, no, do what's working until the algorithm stops rewarding you for it, because then you can just experiment with whatever you want to do in the future once you had that 120,000 followers.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I'd still say there's ways to even be creative within that. It's when I say replicating
within that
video,
constraint.
Yeah. It's more replicating the structure,
the style
of hooks, like how the video is actually built together. But there's so many different avenues you can take creatively within that once you have that kind of format and formula that you can go off of.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it as a good thing. I'm saying like I come from like the music background where there's certain people that I've worked with, that I've seen, that like they'll have a certain style of hook work where it's like, some artists, they're like, okay, if that hook worked once, I'm going to do that 100 times and I'm just going to make a career out of this, get a bunch of money. And there's other people who are like, no, I can't do that again because people already know that I can do that. I'm like, well, you got to play the game a little bit, right? And if you actually want to get seen and make some money out of this, and use that as a constraint. And then for the other songs, experiment. Okay, so you have your ideas, you script them around, you're looking for like, one key fact, one way to push this story a little further. You script it out. Are you scripting it out on how long is that process for writing it? Does that usually take you?
I think it can vary based on the actual topic of the video, but I'd say on average, scripting it out only takes me probably 10, 15 minutes or so, maybe less.
Okay.
Because I like to come in before I have even sit down to write. I like to come in with some sort of idea, some sort of process. As I'm looking up research, I'm thinking like, all right, this is how I'm going to open it up. This is what's going to come after. This is going to be the conclusion. This is going to, trying to build that out in my head as I'm researching. And I think that took practice, doing it every day for 6 months. I've got it down pretty quickly now, but
you have it down, bro. You have it. When I watch your videos, you have such like a cadence and a style, which as an audience, what I really like about it is like, I know what I'm getting into. Like, how some, like me, I'm a good example. Like, I'll do like some videos this way, some videos 2.5 minutes, some videos this way. Where like, audience doesn't know what they're getting into, but you've built this brand where like, okay, I know that I'm going to get some really cool sport anecdote in this style with this amount of time. Like, you've really built a brand around your delivery, and you have a lot of confidence. Can you talk to me about like your on-camera confidence?
Yeah, that is something that I think I've learned. Growing up, I always did like, different interviews for sports and different. I was in like a different film class when I was in high school and stuff like that. But I don't really think I gained enough confidence speaking lines like I have now in front of a camera until you just got out there and did it.
Yo,
like you just have to do it,
bro. The dude, I tell people that all the time. Like the activity of having to take a concept and cut out all the fluff and make it hit in 27 seconds is a great practice for becoming a better communicator.
It really is. And I think like there's a lot of times where I'll go off script just because if I have an opinion or I have an idea, like for my own sake, my own practice, I think just speaking into the camera and delivering it confidently is one of the best things that you can do and the best practice you can have as a creator. It's just like building your confidence. And to do that, you have to get in front of the camera and actually do it. And that's where I think a lot of people get stopped in their journey is like, okay, well, I don't want to do this every day. Like it can get kind of nerve-wracking, but once you power through it and you start doing this over and over again, I think that's where you can really build some confidence from it.
So what is your setup when you're in front of the camera?
So originally I started on my iPhone. I did some on an actual Sony camera for a little while, but I'm just back on my iPhone. I've got a ring light. I've got big windows in my apartment, so I like to do a lot of natural light now, but I've got my ring light.
It's the best.
Yeah.
If you can. Yeah.
And I've got a couple other studio lights, but to be honest, in short form content, I've done it where you sit down in the studio. I've done all of it in front of your iPhone. Good audio will take you anywhere you want to go.
So talk to me about the audio. What's the audio setup? Because I see that you got you have a mic still.
Yeah, I have a mic. This one is not the one I record on. I've got two. I like to use.
So is it like a Bluetooth or is it like connected through?
It's actually a USB mic, and I bought. Where's it at?
So you record separately and then you sync them.
No, I have a adapter that plugs directly from the USB mic into your iPhone.
Okay.
And then you can go into your iPhone settings and connect the actual mic. And it makes it super easy. It sounds crisp.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's
how much is this mic? Like, what is it?
I think the USB one I use is only like, I think when I bought it was like $70, maybe less.
You think I could hook up this Shure to my? It's a USB, so I probably, if yours is a USB, I probably
probably could.
It's probably an adapter.
Some of them need like phantom power.
Yeah.
Sometimes your iPhone.
This doesn't.
Then you should be able to. I think if it's a USB, you should be good. You just buy the adapter on.
I'm gonna try
Amazon.
that.
Yeah.
The audio is way more important than the video, right? Because you can do so much with the text, with the edit, like. And people like one too. I'm curious. I've started to go more iPhone for my short form content, and it's been like as like a creative challenge because I did like the more produced setup for a while, but now I'm going more iPhone, and it's kind of liberating. It's like fun to know that like all I need is this like little mobile device.
When I record on the iPhone and when I see other creators do it, I don't know if it's just me. I get a more like personal feel. Like,
yeah.
I feel like, okay, well, this isn't like a big staged operation. This is somebody who just wants to provide you with information. Somebody who just wants to tell you a story. Somebody who wants to just tell you something. Like your friend, you're getting, a text from your friend. Like it's the same kind of feeling. And I think
it's the group chat.
It's the group chat. It all goes back to the group chat.
Yeah.
And I think that's the power of what short form media has kind of let creators do is get more personal with the audience. And I think the iPhone kind of takes advantage of that.
Yes. Okay. So back to that, like what I was trying to explain there, that I didn't do a great job of. When I initially was doing shorts, I was doing the big produced setup, and I was editing them. I was taking like an hour to edit each one. Now most of my content, it's just one take videos right into my phone, just like mindset, ideas, storytelling of some way, which it feels totally stripped down. So I'm like, okay, within those constraints, I just had to be better. Like the story has to be better, the hook has to be better, my delivery has to be there. Like my tonality has to right. So like I like kind of like moving up and down the dials on those things and getting creative within that. Here's another thing that came up. I was like, brands, like would the brand stop reaching out to me if I started using my iPhone? And then I realized, so one of the Spotify reached out to me, and I was like, all right, bet, let's work. Do you want me to do it with my nice camera? Here's some options. Or do you want me to do it with my iPhone? And they were like, do it with your iPhone. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, so then that even liberated me even more. I was like, okay, iPhone's the move. Like even big brands are paying for people to like record right into their iPhone.
Yeah, definitely. And I've always had like this weird balance between my videos. Like I edit in Premiere, like I come from a graphic design background. Like I was big in like very polished designs. I do a little bit of animation within the videos. And I've always kind of struggled with, where's my value prop? Is that where my value is? Does it lie in these over edited like videos, or does it come from the storytelling? And I think obviously I like to, just as a personal passion, I like to get more high produced and do like cool things within the video. But I've done it now where I'll just put a green screen background up on TikTok and I'll tell a quick story about something that I know in sports, and I'll get a little more personal like that. And it does the same. Like it gets the same interaction, it gets the same engagement. Like I think the value and as a creator comes from your story, and however you can deliver it, whether it's on an iPhone or on a camera. I like the iPhone personal feel better, but I like seeing like brand value in the story. And I think that's what a lot of brands want now.
Dude, that's a great point. And now too, like one, I'll tell you, your edits, they never feel like overproduced to me either. Like they feel like very like true to like digital culture. Like they feel like native to these platforms, especially with the stories that you're telling. Like there's a lot of people you're showcasing, like, up and coming athletes that, someone's not going to just know off top. Like you kind of have to just, show, give a look of like, who we're dealing with to help the story actually even make sense.
Yeah. And I think that's that's always been kind of like, I'm glad you said that, because that's always been my objective, is like be able to utilize like these high studio skills that I know how to do and I can provide, but keep it so that it feels subtle, so that it feels like, you're still watching and getting that personal feel and that personal connection with the actual story. So I'm glad you said that, because somebody noticed. That's what I was going for.
Dude, you're dialed in with this. So when you're in front of the camera, are you reading off of a script, or do you look at the script and then say it to the camera?
I look at the script and say it to the camera, and I've done it now where I've had like my computer screen back so I can see directly to it. But I like to look and then record, because I think it's given me to the point now where like I'll go off script a little bit. I'll throw in my own opinion, or like, because when I'm just directly reading, I feel like more robotic, to where I'm reading a line and presenting it in the way that I feel that it would best, come off, I guess.
Totally.
I think that it helps me like give it more personality and give more, honestly, like more inflection in each line.
Yeah. Have you ever one-taked a video?
I think early stages, but not anymore.
Yeah.
I minute-long scripts, it's getting hard to memorize now.
Yeah. It's I find it's actually, so when I tell a story, it's easier for me to one-take it. If I like include details or like lists or like anything like that, like I have to look back and forth to my Notion doc and just be like, oh, what the heck was I saying here?
Yeah, I provide like a ton of different. I always try to add like some statistics or facts. So like when I'm actually just telling the story, I could kind of just rip it if I'm just telling a story. But what I'm always trying to throw in, like, this guy was an MVP this season or whatever, just to splatter with a little bit more information. So that's kind of like where I have to kind of bounce back and forth from.
What's something in the process of going from 500 followers to 200,000 on TikTok, 120K on YouTube? What's something about the filming process that you wish you would have knew when you just started?
Well, that's a good question. I think when I first started, I'd say, this is going to sound dumb, but I think actually just doing it, like just going out and filming myself speaking. it took me a while to get to the point where like I was okay with coming on camera as much as I do now, which is literally every video. But it took me a while from getting to the point where like, okay, I'm going to have like text to screen read something, or I'm going to just do a voiceover. It took me a while to actually get in front of the camera, and I'm so glad I did, and I wish I did it earlier, because it's elevated me as a creator and elevated me as a storyteller, because I forced myself to actually get out there and do it. I'd say like technical filming wise, I'd probably say that when I first started, I'd get really big into like the lighting, like how's this going to look? How's this shot? This angle. Now it's just like, all right, I just set up my light, I record, and that's it.
Yo, I'm telling you, I have like a theory a little bit, that like jacked up lighting is probably better for short form. Yo, if I feel like there's a commercial that like people's like, I don't know, like for me, I'm like, yo, there's so many people that do well, and like even in skits, like even like it's like the lighting isn't right, and like that's what makes it so great. Like for your example, you're a clear example. People don't want ESPN, right? That's why they're coming to like their homie online. Like if it's they got the perfect lighting, let them do that. What can you get away with that's unique to you?
Yeah, as long as you can see my face, I'm good to go. That's all I need.
Yeah. So when you're, I notice when you do your clips, you move towards the camera in the first, in like the right. Am I wrong? Like you kind of take a step and you like lean. Tell me, is there like a strategy there? Is that just like, tell me what your thinking is on that.
So that's a little tip I've learned. I always do within the first second and a half. I think I always have, whether I do it in post or I do it when I'm actually recording, is I'll start back and then zoom in the camera, or I'll lean in, because I never do it. This can get a little in depth here, but I never do it right away, because you got to think in short form content, when you're scrolling, it's going to take you like half a second just to be focused on that video. After that half a second, then you'll get a quick zoom in just to be like, oh wait, now I got to listen to what this guy's going to say. Because that motion subconsciously of falling forward or zooming in or having some sort of subtle like emphasis on the hook always subconsciously will draw your viewer in, and it's strategy. I do it I do it a lot, especially each time I come back from like showing a clip into showing my face. You'll see, like, whether you notice it or not, I'm sure people will notice it now, there's always some sort of like quick subtle jerk. Just
I think it does. I think it does, man. I think there's like a little bit of like he's telling me something, like only my homie it would like he's cluing me into something that's important here, you know. Like there is something about that draws you in as an audience.
Yeah, it's like a visual. I call it the visual hook. You can have a great hook, but if you got to have the visual hook as well.
How do you think about your hooks while we're on the subject? When you're scripting, like, is there like how much time do you spend on the hook, and just like what's your mindset as you're creating it?
Yeah, the most time when I'm scripting is spent on the hook. And you know, I'll have a full minute or more, like a minute or longer script, and I'll spend the most time on that first sentence. And a lot of people don't understand in content creation right now is like, because everybody, like every social media guru will preach like, you need to have a great hook. It's got to be, I mean, for me, whenever I do a hook, I always want to do something that directly interacts with the viewer. So like, I'll drop like something subtle, like say like, you need to blank, 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 or whatever. Where I do a lot of talking about athletes and their stories. So I'll be like, I'll either name drop somebody super popular so that, you know, you got to listen. Like if you hear Steph Curry, you're going to keep watching. Or a technique that I learned from my friend Frank Michael Smith on TikTok, he does it really well, is he'll never give away the subject in the hook. And then he'll make you watch 5, 6, 7 seconds into the video before he reveals what the video is actually about. So there's different ways to do it, but what a lot of people don't understand is that the second line matters just as much, because that's where I'm big into the analytics of my videos. Like I'll get deep into the retention rates on YouTube Shorts and on TikTok, because luckily TikTok put that in now. But you'll see a deep fall off a lot after the second line. So it's you want to present this major hook, like everybody says, directly at the viewer, tell the viewer what they want to hear, and then somewhat of that. I can't remember who taught me this. It's a great one of my coworkers actually taught me, like, when you're writing a script, it's awesome to go negative to positive. So you have your hook, a negative right after your hook, and then a positive. So saying like you'll never, like saying something like you'll never get, but here's why you should. The second, and that doesn't come in the first line. Like you'll have your hook. Like I said, directly like communicate with the viewer.
Yeah.
But then a subtle like you'll never believe, or that's a very basic example. But there's different ways you get into it.
I'm with it. So it's more like it's not the first 3 seconds. It's like the first 10 seconds that you're sort of optimizing for. And then I like the idea of not totally revealing what it is about until you're 6 or 7 seconds in, because at that point you're kind of committed.
Yeah, and I've been really focusing on trying to get this involved in a few more videos a week on my channel, is like drawing in the viewer a little bit longer, like almost like you're fishing, like you're dangling the bait out there and you want them to take it. So you do it and you wait, and then all of a sudden you hit them with like a big fact, like, and here's why this guy does the blah blah blah, and that guy's Carlos Boozer or whoever the video's about. Like, I don't know why I said Carlos Boozer,
yeah.
And the animation style can help.
Yeah, you share something to pique their curiosity, but maybe not reveal like who it's about, because then like, oh, who is that about? And then like 10 seconds in, then it's about them, and then you stack like another hook on it, like right after that 10 seconds.
Exactly. That's where the second. Yeah, there's always. I'd say when you're doing a video like that, there's always a second hook, because because you're going to keep the person guessing. And for me, a lot of the time, it's an obvious guess. Like sometimes I'll even put a silhouette up on the screen that like you can kind of see who the person is. But then you like subconsciously like, all right, well, I want to see who the person is. I want to be verified that I'm correct. And then that's when you hit them with a second hook to keep their attention.
Yeah. Does that ever get like, all right, so I'll tell you my strategy right now for shorts. Like the podcast is my favorite thing, and that's kind of what I'm optimizing for now. Is building that. Like that's my brand, like that's my content. So the shorts is really just like a fun way to like introduce my personality to people that might be interested in the podcast. So I've been having fun with just not having any strategy whatsoever. So like for a while I was thinking about the hooks, I was thinking about the retention time, but like now I'm sort of exhausted from that. Like I kind of want to just make whatever. And like, dude, to be honest, my account hasn't been popping off, but I feel better about the content myself. So is there like a line that because I'm also the type of person, I don't geek out about analytics. Like I don't look at that stuff. But like the most successful creators that I talk to, they pay attention to like what's working and what's not working very closely. So is there a line for you where like, all right, it's taking the fun out of it, like, or is it that is the fun of it for you to like really optimize for that part of it?
I'd say I'm kind of a nerd and I kind of like the optimization and like I love strategy. Like that's kind of like something that really gets me going to create. But what I've learned, and I'll say this, is that I've talked to some really good creators and like a ton of people who I've reached out for advice and like has really helped me. It's like you can be strategic all you want, but like at the end of the day, like that will burn. Like you're saying, it gets old. Like it'll burn you out. Like
I think that's what
happens all the time.
Exactly. And that's sort of what I was feeling. So I was like, I just want to go back to like sharing my mindsets, sharing my ideas in a way that like is exciting to me. Then I'll go back into optimizing it again. But right now I'm just like, I'm just going to throw more pickles at the wall and see what sticks without overthinking it. Yeah.
So I think it's important and this is where I'm trying to create like a unique aspect on my page alone is you'll see that you can tell, if you really want to look, you can tell which creator is very analytical and strategic in their videos and which creator just posts. And like that, it can be successful in its own way. Like, don't get me wrong. That's like some people absolutely dominate like that. But I'm trying to become a page that can incorporate both. So recently I'd say within even the past 2-3 weeks here, I've been starting to post on TikTok. I don't do it on Instagram or YouTube Shorts because that's different optimization. But on TikTok
Yeah.
alone, like more personal videos. Like I think yesterday, I grew up in Orlando, Florida, and I was a big Magic fan. And Dwight Howard didn't make the top 75 list. And as a Magic fan, I'm like, come on, like that's our guy. I grew up in Orlando. That's my guy. So I've been trying to incorporate more personal and opinion based content. So like I just stitched a Dwight Howard video, and told a story from my childhood. Like it was like when I was a kid, like Dwight had the Superman statue, and I really dove into that. No editing, and I got some really, really engaged comments on that, and I got a bunch of DMs saying like, "Oh my god, like you're a Magic fan, like I like that too." Like, and I think it kind of sparked
A little bit of that.
Yeah, like how can I balance now between the two? Like, I think that's just the beauty of the platform and TikTok that we have is that you're able to do both. Like, you can be very analytical and get 5-6 posts weekly that are strategic, but then you could also do 2 or 3 videos that are just your opinion and actually show off you. And like, it took me a while to understand that that's a possibility and that's an option. And so I'm glad I did, because it's a lot more fun when you can put your opinions out there and like, you're not trying to do any giant scheme,
Exactly. So this is what I'm thinking. And this is for the audience to think about too. Like the way I think this fits in is, for me, is with my shorts, I should maybe create a series that like I optimize, that I geek out about. Like I focus on like the hook, like the whole cadence of the video, and I dial in that series in a way that like is meant for reach. Then I have like the other pillars of content, 2 or 3, that are more just like the style of content that I've really enjoyed, that are creating like the community and the connection and like all of the comments and the engagement. That like I loved it. My account, like it converts. Like I just made a video the other day, 50,000 views only, and I had 580 click-throughs, like to my like web page. Like people click the link in my bio. That's an incredible number. At least I might be like, I know people that get millions of views and they don't get people clicking their bio like that.
No,
So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah. So I know that like my like the people care about what I'm saying. It's just like, yeah, I think optimizing like one series and be like, okay, like this is where we can like really go for that broad reach, and these other ones we can just kind of have fun with.
Yeah, and I like categorize that from like a marketing stance as like, you have a growth phase, which you could say is like you're saying a series that is strictly designed for platform optimization and for strategy. And that's how you can grow. Like that's your growth phase. That's what's going to get you onto the For You page. That's going to get you onto like the top of the search of YouTube. Like that's going to be your SEO based. But then, like you said, and I think that's very true, is that people respond more. If you want somebody to click on a link, people respond to a personal like video, kind of like the style like you've been doing on your page recently, like a more personal, like lower production style video. Because that's what people are going to respond. That's where you feel more. I think it possesses like more trust into you as a creator, to your audience. Like people trust you if you're being vulnerable and this isn't like a huge studio production.
Definitely, they really do, man. And it's cool. Yeah, like it's a fun experiment to switch it up every now and then. And I've been enjoying those like straight ideas to the camera, one taking it, putting it up, and then going about my day. Like it's cool that like you can. I'm like, that's crazy that we live in a world where we can just do that, and like it's like people will like pay attention, and I don't know. I just always think it's fascinating, like just like 20 years ago, to get in front of the amount of people that you can do with a video like that, like you had to have like a $50,000 shoot with like a whole set, like lighting, and like now we can just broadcast our ideas whenever we want. I don't know. I geek out about it, like I said at the beginning of the show. So now we film this whole thing. The ideas are going out. Like when you're editing, let's talk about one. So you said that you do edit. What software are you editing on? Are you on you're on a computer or a phone?
Premiere on my MacBook.
Okay, cool. And then let's talk about similarities when you're editing. The things that work for both TikTok and YouTube, and then the things that are a little different?
Yeah, I think the main difference that I see is on TikTok, I'll tend to want to go past that 60-second time limit that YouTube Shorts provides. And that's just a very main like structural difference.
Yeah.
But in the actual editing process, I think something that is the same from both is, like I said, that intro where the visual hook when you lean into it. But
Yep.
if you watch the videos that I put out, if you need to have some sort of on-screen change I always try to go at most 2.5 seconds, and there's something else.
Interesting.
So what I'll do if it's a point of the video where I want to be speaking to the camera and I want you to see me for more than that 2.5 seconds, you'll see it where the camera will be zoomed all the way out. It'll be 100%, and then all of a sudden it'll come into 200%, and it's right in my face. Or then I'll take it back out after a few words, and then bring it back in, but maybe to the side of it, like giving a different perspective as you're speaking. I think on YouTube Shorts actually does really, really well, and I think that's the same across TikTok and Reels. Like Instagram Reels has been following that same kind of path now. And then editing process wise, when I'm including a clip, like if I just want some B-roll over the video, because you can't, especially in these sports videos, like you're gonna have to show the highlights. You got to show what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I will always do the same, where I will show, like, a lot of people will fully run out the highlight like the whole way through, and I think this is kind of specific to sports, but I think it could be used, I guess, across any genre. Really, is like after 2.5 seconds, like even if it's a quick jump cut, even if it's a zoom, even if it's a zoom out, if it's a slight change of color, I do captions on screen, and I think an easy way that I've learned to do that is, like, if you have a word of emphasis, like make that word larger, make it red, like red captures people's attention, like change the color of the text, make it larger, make it smaller, so that you're constantly, whether you notice it or not, and I like to do it really subtle so that unless I'm telling you right now, like you probably wouldn't notice it, is like the size of each text changes. I was very specific with that.
That is an annoying part of the process, though.
Yeah, that can be tedious, but
that I found that's the most tedious part. Like the text, like really playing around with that, man. Like I got lazy with my text at the beginning. I was doing that, popping it up here and there, moving it. Now I'm just like, yo, whatever you say, I said it, and I just do the automated version. But
that's the thing, yeah. You can go personal, like that. That's the type of video that you've like. That's what will get you clicks on your like.
Yeah, if you're really going for that banger and like you're like, I really got a good one. Like it does make sense. So how long are your edits taking?
I'd say anywhere between 45 minutes to about an hour and a half.
Okay. And you're editing. So like you film it, you export, you're airdropping it to your computer. You're editing on there. You don't have to sync audio. Probably going through and screenshot and grabbing a bunch of clips from online. The text, do you do the auto text, or you manually put it all in, or do you auto text and then manipulate it from there?
I go auto text and then manipulate it once the auto text has been generated. I think Premiere's got a pretty solid captioning. You'll have to always go back in and look at the actual transcript, but after that, yeah, I take the auto captions and then I'll just pick random words and size, scale, colors, whatever.
Okay. How important do you think text is? Because everyone's doing it nowadays.
Yeah. That's a question that I've been trying to decipher for a while now. I personally think that my original thought process was like, if somebody's watching this on mute, like how are they going to be able to know? But TikTok now has an auto captions feature. So that on TikTok seems to not really matter as much. I think on YouTube Shorts, that's where it's seeing the most optimization for, is that text on screen. Because I've done a few test subjects where I didn't include it, and the ones with text actually did better. Now I don't know if that's specific to that video that I tested on or what, but I do think text has some validity, and I do think it matters on YouTube Shorts. And then now that TikTok's very SEO based, you kind of see the shift in the algorithm towards, optimizing for searches. I think that's where text can really, really help you get your video seen.
Do you add music?
No, I do all the music in. I always post on TikTok first, and I use a trending sound or whatever. I have a whole list of favorited sounds that I go off of now that I know work. And I use those, and then
Yo,
I
can
will.
you send me them sounds? I need some sounds, bro.
I'll send you. I'll send you a good sound list. Maybe I should. Maybe I should publish a list or something. But
Yeah.
you just go through my videos. I use them all the time.
Yeah,
but then
no,
I'll
I
take
need a
that
list.
sound.
I don't
yeah.
want to do the work. I just want you to send them to me.
Sounds like a good business opportunity there.
Exactly. You gonna charge me? All right, I'm with it. I'm with it.
No.
So did you pull the TikTok video with that sound and then go to YouTube?
Yeah. So what I'll do is either kind of two processes here. I have a bunch of sounds now that I use consistently that I've saved, and I'll just add them. I'll export it twice. Add one for YouTube Shorts in Premiere with the actual sound, and then one without it, because I used to do where I would just have one on TikTok and I'll just zero out the added sound from the app. But this might be this has no factual evidence to back it, so I'm not going to say this is fact here. But like, I have a weird superstition that like having the sound on the TikTok video does better. I don't know if that is real or not. That's not
having. What do you mean having the sound on?
Like you know how when you have two like slides, one for original sound and one for the provided TikTok sound.
Yeah.
I used to just have the original sound all the way up and then the TikTok sound at 0, and I'd incorporate my own music.
Oh.
So having the TikTok sound with it on, I might be a personal superstition here, but I do that now.
So you upload it with like no music in the background, just your voice, and then you add it with like natively within the app.
Yeah, but I'll add sound effects in Premiere. I'll add different little sounds, just not an actual full music track.
Yeah, and I used to get this question a lot when I used to edit like the videos more in depthly. Is that a word? I used to be more thorough with my edits. People would be like, "What are your export settings?" And I'd be like, "I don't know. I just hit export." Like I'm not like an export setting guy. Like, is there anything specific you're thinking about, just for if there is anything?
Not in Premiere now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a sucker. I just base export it.
Yeah. I mean, we're going on these smartphone apps. Like I don't think that like
your videos can be so compressed. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't think. That was my thinking. People were like, "What's your?" I was like, "Come on, man. I don't.
I always go 1080.
No,
like it doesn't matter. You could do more. Like it just could get compressed anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. And now you did talk about the length of videos. Is there like a range that you're trying to hit?
I always try to stay within, I'd say, around 48 seconds to trying to end it like at least. The information ends at 60 seconds. Sometimes I'll go up to sometimes 63, 64. But somewhere
48 to 63 seconds.
Mm-hmm. That's usually the goal.
Is there like
there's a strategy to it.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
So when I first started doing videos in this kind of fashion, I would do, some of them would run to a minute 20, a minute 30. And I realized that there's like filler words that you can compress on. Like there's a lot of times when you're talking and like some of the words that you're saying, like you can compress it down. You don't need them. You can throw them out.
Yeah. You can cut out like the first part of the sentence and it still makes sense.
Exactly. Like I struggle with that still. Like sometimes I'll write and I'm like, dang, this is a 2.5 minute long script and it needs to be 60 seconds. But
yeah. And then also like in the editing process, you're like, oh, with the clip that I chose and the text here, like, I don't need to give all the context that I said in the script. You can cut a lot of that out.
Sometimes it can be visual as well.
Yeah.
And I think the evidence that I have to back that up was from my own analytics on YouTube Shorts and on TikTok. Videos that I posted that were between 30 and 45 seconds never did as well as things that went past that 48-second mark. I say 48 seconds, and it's going to differ page to page. This isn't like a golden number. You kind of just have to feel it out yourself. But after 48 seconds is where my, it's based on retention and engagement. Like, that's where I stop seeing, like, or that's when, like, the biggest fall off in retention is. So I always try to keep it somewhere between those pillars.
But where does it fall off? Like
anytime after, sorry, that was confusing. Anytime after, like, 63 seconds or so, like, after you pass that minute marker, that's where you'll really see it start to tank. And when you do a video that's shorter, so if I go under 48 seconds and I usually see the retention for whatever reason, and I don't really know what the reason is to be honest. The retention rate was never really all the way through, which is strange because you think shorter video means people are going to watch more of it. But in my case, the stories, I don't know if it wasn't providing enough evidence or if maybe I was leaving something out that I shouldn't have been. Like I said, differs to each page, but that's just where I see my markers at.
Yeah, no, I think that's good insight. Have you ever experimented with like it's probably hard with your style of content, like a 12 to 15-second video?
I have. It's difficult when you're trying to
tell a full story.
Yeah, like I always want to provide some sort of full story, full information as much as I can give in that time frame. So 15 seconds just for my storytelling genre doesn't really work as well. I can't provide what I want to say. But there's creators that absolutely kill it with staying under 15 seconds.
Yeah. Now, editing, you exported that bad boy. Now we're publishing it. How do you think about publishing it? Is there like a time of day? Is there like everyone has theories on this. I'm curious, since you're going so consistently throughout the week, like when do you try to get this video up for TikTok and then for YouTube?
Yeah, it's a hot topic right now. Like you see like so many people fighting about what time of day works.
People are hot about it.
Yeah. I think personally, I don't think the time matters. I always try to aim. I try to aim for around 7:30, but that's more so that just is my time frame with my personal life. Like that's when I can finish a video by. So that's when I go. But like I've had a time where I can edit a video in the morning and I get it done by 11 and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to post it. Like there's no real difference to me.
Yeah, and especially now that everything's on the interest graph, like it shares it to people that want it, more so than your followers. It's time shouldn't, the actual timing shouldn't matter as much because it's gonna try to get it in front of those people regardless.
Yeah, they want these platforms want your video to be seen. It does them justice to have your video in front of an audience that wants to see your video. So I don't think you're going to be punished. Say you want to post it at 2 p.m. instead of 3 p.m.
Yeah, I agree. And I also don't think anyone at these platforms actually even knows. I feel like
no, this is just computer at this point.
Yeah. I feel like they don't even know what's going on. Because if they did, they would all have accounts that popped off themselves.
That's what I'm always thinking. Dang, if I worked at TikTok, they must just not know because I feel like they'd be the ones who are famous.
I know, right? So business opportunities. We can go as little into this or as much as not as into this as you want. That made no sense, but we can. You DM me about a business opportunity a couple months ago. Do you want to share any insights around that, or if not that one, what other how do you think about this in terms of income or making money? What opportunities are you trying to are you excited about that this brand has created?
Yeah. Well, I guess just a little background on that. How I first got involved with this podcast was I just DM'd you and asking cold DM hey, I don't know what I'm doing here. Do you have any idea? And that's kind of the crazy part about the creator world is nobody really has it.
Nobody knows,
has an
dude.
idea.
These new media brands, they're starting out of thin air. It's not.
They don't know either.
They don't know either. They're hey, I don't know. We'll see what he'll do it for. And then you reached out to me about that, which was cool.
Yeah, but business opportunity wise, that deal in particular, I honestly can't really get into too much with that because it's kind of still going on.
Did I tell you to charge too much?
No. What you did was actually perfect. I think it's worth saying again was what do you think your value is? What do you think your value? Okay, double what you think your value is. That is exactly what you should do. They should tell you no right away. And if they're not, you're not charging enough. And I learned that the hard way multiple times. But that actual opportunity is, I think my path has been unique business-wise is rather than marketing so much around my personal brand and around marketing my audience, what I've come to realize my value prop is I've marketed around my ability to tell a story and my editing process and like what we've been talking about today, my knowledge of short form content and what I've gathered from it. So instead of marketing my audience so much, because it's hard in sports, when you're doing a sports, there's only so many things you can really do. Like, I'm sure there's ways I could do it, but I've been thinking about like how can like, a ton of successful creators that have been on this podcast and many more like have like these elaborate courses and all these different opportunities that they've come with different brands. So I've been thinking about like how can I incorporate that into mine? But what I found is like I've been able to create a living off my knowledge of the platforms and my ability to storytell. So now instead of working with larger brands, I'm working with larger, I don't know if I can say the names of them yet, but like larger
That's fine.
Instagram accounts or like TikTok accounts that have millions of followers but don't have original content, and helping them gear towards creating original content in the sports genre. And I'll tell you what, TikTok has landed me like what I'd say is my like dream career now is my full-time. I have a day job. I guess you can kind of say it's a day job at this point, where I work with different athletes and help them build out their personal brands, and help them learn how to market themselves based on the things that I've learned from my own experiences. And I think I've taken a little bit of a different path, but now I'm starting to market onto my actual audience a little bit because it's grown as it has. Recently, I've got a Snapchat show now, and a bunch of different media opportunities with different brands. But I think as a creator, there's many different avenues you take. What you see like your favorite creator doing is not something that you have to do to be able to make this a full-time job. There are so many different ways that you could take based on different abilities that you have. I think that's a important thing to know.
There's a lot to unpack there, and I love it all. All right, now wait. So when you said market to my audience, do you mean like in terms of like brand deals?
Direct
brand deals. Like brands pay you to get in front, say, hey, incorporate us with a short form video.
That's what I mean.
Have you gotten has a bunch of people reached out to you for that?
Yeah, I get a ton of emails now to like be on my actual page, and I've turned down a ton of people because I haven't turned down everybody. I have brand deals in the works right now and partnerships because I don't want them to hear this and be like, yo, what? But I have brand deals that I'm working on right now that will be directed onto my actual page. But I've been very particular with it.
Yeah. Have you found it challenging to incorporate brand collabs into short form content?
I have. I think that there's ways to do it, but into my genre, like my value is, like I've said, storytelling. And if I'm going to post a brand deal, why I've been very particular about it is I want to post it with a brand that I can build a confident story around. Like I worked with a really cool like custom jersey company, and I get clothing companies DMing me all the time asking to work, but this one in particular was like, yeah, dude, like we do creative customs. Like I love your idea. Like what custom could we do that you could build around your channel? Like how could you tell a story around that? And I thought that was super interesting, and turned out to be one of my like favorite brand deals that I've done. We did like a whole jersey thing, like collab, like I got say in it. And I think those are the way you can tell stories.
Yeah. Bro, I have an idea for you. So short form is tough, but like with your format, this is what I would say. I would say actually create, you might already be doing this, so tell me to shut up if you are. But like essentially like an episodic series, right? Where you would do like, because what happens is with short form, it's hard because it's hard to do the integration because usually the brand is the whole integration because it's a short form video, with a podcast or like a typical YouTube video, like you can work it in, you can do the little brand deal spot and like it doesn't affect the content. So maybe like you could almost create it in a way where you create this ongoing series where it's like, let's say like basketball players up and coming basketball players you need to know about, like part one, like that's not the hook. You'll do a much better hook, but like you'll do the hook, and then about 15 seconds in, there's just like a quick 3 bars about like, by the way, this series this month is sponsored by da 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 da, and you do 4 episodes, and you almost like create like you would have it like on your back end. You wouldn't broadcast this. When companies reach out to you, you say, hey, I have 4 spots open this month. These are the episodes. Like you can, like, the minimum I let people buy is 4, and each one is X amount, right? So you kind of like sell it the way like TV shows sell, like, commercials. I don't know, like you almost like productize the brand deal instead of like just like, piecemealing, like, one here, there, one here or there. Like, so then you, like, each month, that you have a consistent flow of money coming in on your shorts.
See, this is why I got so excited when you asked me to be on this podcast, because that's a great idea. Yeah, dude, how about this? Like, I'm gonna do it. Let's do it, and then reconvene and see how it goes.
yeah. We'll do part 2 for the monetization. But no, let's connect too. Like, we'll follow up after the call. But I think there's a lot of ways to incorporate. Like, I get excited about that. Like, it's like, especially if it's a cool brand, especially if it makes sense for the content. Like, how can it be a win for them and a win for you, but also doesn't pull away from the content? Because I see that's the biggest challenge for short form creators. It's like, how do I incorporate this software into my video that I'm selling? Like, and yeah, do you have to jump right now?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. So you're good. And then, so the other one is the one company that you reached out to. Tell me more about charging double, the charging double advice.
I'm not gonna lie, I was so nervous, like getting on a call and being like, "Hey, here's this X price that I want," because the deal was, I could go into the details with that. The deal was like, it was a larger page. It was a like larger, I don't know. I guess you could qualify them as like a repost account, like they post viral videos, stuff like that. And they were looking to make original content, and they were looking for somebody to come in with ideas and be able to actually go and create different series for their YouTube page and stuff like that. And that's something I never even realized that like brands are looking to do. Like, I had no idea what to charge. So when I reached out, you said like, what do you think your value of your time is? Okay, now double that, because that's what they're going to want to charge. And I brought it to the table with them. And honestly, they had no idea either. They had no idea what I was going to say and what I was going to charge.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, they said no. They're like, okay, that's a little bit out of our budget. like, no, we can't do that. But that led to more, that gave me like so much confidence to be able to go into like a brand pitch like that and be like, here's what I'm worth. Here's what my value is. Like, we'll start here, and then we can work within whatever budget you guys have been allotted. Like, it was such valuable experience to go into that meeting and then like gain the confidence of being like, all right, if they say no, that doesn't matter. Like, we can still come to a deal. Like, our relationship's not going to end. Like, the person who actually runs that brand, I still talk to like weekly, has become like a solid piece of advice like in my life.
And you bring up a good point. Like, the way that you present that, it doesn't have to be this like adversarial, like, give me this much or I'm out or I'm walking out the door. It's not that. It's saying, hey, like, this is how I usually frame it. Like, some wording of this. It's like, hey, like, for a project like this is what I would normally charge, price it at. If you can meet that, that would be great. Like, obviously, I admire what you guys do. I like your brand. I like working with you. I want to find a way to work with you. So let me know if there's if this doesn't make sense for you. And what I find is, like, it depends on who you're working with, especially with bigger brands. It's not the account manager's like money. Like, they're like, if they like you too, like, they're not like offended by it. They're like, no, he doesn't want to steal he doesn't want my money. Like, they're on your side. They're like, yo, like, I want to get this guy money. I don't want him to feel like we're gypping him now. And they almost hold you in this like higher regard now, where it's like, yo, this guy actually charges what he's worth. And also, especially with and this is why I particularly told you to price that way, is because when someone comes to pay you, like, they're coming in to take your ideas because they see your talent. They see what you're building on your page, and they want it for themselves. So every time you do that, it pulls from your momentum, like every bit of energy you give to someone else. And that's also factored into that price, right? Like, where it's like, if you just focus the energy that you would give them, you could probably charge it double in 3-6 months of like what you're going to charge them for your own freaking content. So like, these are all the things I'm factoring in when I'm trying to share ideas for how to price work.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just an important lesson with that is like when you come in and once you finally understand your value of what you should be charging, like there's going to be people who say no, and like that's not the end of the world. Like I've had people tell me like, no, that's not, we didn't picture that. Like it's all right. Like if they came to you, they want to work with you. That's why they're there. Like they're in your email because they want you particular, like your particular skill set. So they're going to do what they can to work that out as well. And I think that's just important to remember. And if they say no and it doesn't work, then like that probably wasn't who you should be working with anyway. Like, they might just be below what value that you present at the moment. And that's okay. You could still have a solid relationship with that brand and that company, but it's just important to know, like, no is not the end of the world, especially in this industry. It's just
and it brings up another point. And I know, dude, we're going so much longer, and I love it. It brings up another point. Valuing relationships over transactions. So sometimes, like recently, I just did. I'm working with someone less than what I would normally charge because I value the relationship of working with them. Like I see the potential in this individual, like to be a mover and a shaker in the industry, like their connections, like I like working with them. I see like the long-term like relationship more than just like a one-off transaction. So I like candidly was like, yo, like, what do you want to pay me? I was like, tell me what would make you happy. I was like, all right, bet. Like, I like working with you. Let's just make that happen. Because like, so you kind of like, once you get better at like kind of like charging, what you feel like you deserve, talking about it more confidently, not letting people take advantage of you. There's times where you use your discretion, but like, yeah, like, this one's on the house, like whatever, like we'll do this because I really like this relationship. I see the potential in this relationship.
I agree. And I think relationships in this, especially in the creator industry, is the most valuable thing you could have, especially when you're in a position like, I'm not going to say I know everything. I'm just starting. Like I've just got into this. I finally just turned this to where like I can, live off this kind of lifestyle here. And I think that's being able to do it so quickly has come off of like building relationships. Like when I kind of started my like online career with graphic design, like I was really big graphic designer back in the day, like, or not really big, like I was big into it. But,
flex on them, bro. Let's go.
I wasn't really big in any means. Yeah. I mean, I was really big into it.
I was the man. Yeah.
I was the man in design. But I would send like 10, 15 DMs like daily to different accounts that I liked. Just people that I wanted to get in touch with. And I do that now. Like I reached out to you, just cold DM. Like I find value in like, what's somebody gonna do? Like not respond? Okay. Like cool. Being able to build a relationship, like it's cool. It's how you prosper and how you get to the next level. And it's okay not to do it all by yourself. Like people need help, and it's okay to just go ask people because people want to help. I want to help everybody.
Dude, exactly. It's the relationships, and especially like in the pricing world when you're like like charging for like the thing that you're creating for someone else to own. Like just like factor in a couple things that like that you're spending time to build someone else's brand when you could be spending that time to build your own, and like it's also a really good practice to like just experiment. But like, you know what, I like my goal is for them to say like no the first time. like really push yourself to charge a little bit more. Like it's a good experiment, and like you actually feel, like you said, like you like whenever that happens, I'm like, cool, like they know what's up. Like I don't know why, like it is empowering for some reason. Like just the like I feel like in a creative's like world, like we're so used to like we just want everyone to like to just accept us, accept our work. And like once you show that like no, you have that business side, like you have that acumen, like it does something for your brand. Like it shows that like you're a real player in this in this industry.
Yeah, just never like fear your own confidence. Like you deserve it. You put the time in, you put the effort in, like go get it. Like that's just what it is.
I love the pricing conversation for some reason. I geek. You know why it is? I've been taking advantage, like not taking advantage of, like I've said yes. I've willingly said yes to things that then took advantage of my time, my money, my resources, right? And so like I've learned from experience, like by like and like whatever, like and I probably had the victim mindset, like oh like they owe me this, oh, they owe me that. No, I said yes to all of that. Like once I owned that, like then I was empowered to be like, no, like so like if I'm not learning from that, like I'm not able to apply it to these new conversations that I'm having now for my brand. But yeah, man, this conversation is incredible. Like for you, is there any future plans for a podcast?
Oh, there has been. I've had ideas, and I think what it comes down to is like I really want to, and I really want to get into it because I've got a ton of stories that I'd love to tell. I just need to find the right person to get into it with, I think.
You like, yeah, because like that is a good so shorts I find are an incredible way for discovery into your brand. But like I feel like a perfect little segue would be like podcasts are, dude, brand deals for podcasts are it's nice compared to short form content. You read it once and then you just plop it on the show, like you don't have to like, and the audience is more used to hearing like sponsors at the beginning of shows. Like they're trained, like, yeah, like it's just expected that there's going to be a sponsor at the beginning of a show. It doesn't change the content that much. So that's one thing to consider in the future, because sports podcast, I'm curious about your thinking on this, dude. Sports podcast, like athletes making their own podcast.
Oh yeah.
Like I love it. Like, how do you feel about like that? Like athletes becoming creators themselves?
God, I mean, that's what my whole career is kind of formed. My day job is we work with athletes every day and help them understand, like, you should, like, a lot of people, I think a good analogy is like people are like, athlete has a bad game and like, why is this guy, like, they did this to, what's his name on the Heat? Duncan on the Heat. They were like, yo, you're in a shooting slump. Like, why are you recording a podcast? Okay, that takes 40 minutes out of his day. He's not going to be shooting for 10 hours. Like, he should be doing that.
Why these other guys are going to this strip club and like,
yeah, like he's getting his bag.
Yeah, dude, it's I love it. I think it's doing a really fantastic job of like showing like not just the tip of the iceberg, but just like everything that goes into the mindset of these players that like have so much influence. Now they have the control of like how the world perceives them. I think it's amazing. Like, all the podcasts through the NBA playoffs. The NBA is a really fun sport. Yeah, Draymond, are you I'm obviously a Steph Curry fan. I make a lot of Steph Curry shout outs in my videos. I think Steph is like I just love, like, I love their bounce back. I love what that team did. Yeah, man. I feel like we need to have a follow up podcast too. I feel like we there's a lot of ideas in this one that I know that like I want to cover, and I'm very curious about the monetization aspect of like the next part of your brand, because with 120,000 followers on YouTube, bro, like that is a like yeah. Like that's a really like meaningful asset that like I like there's a lot. Okay, wait. One more question. When people reach out to you for brand deals, do they say TikTok or do they say YouTube Shorts or do they say both?
Oh, I'd say most of them now are saying, "Can you do both?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I don't know.
That's an extra. That's double it again."
That's now, like, because in the beginning it was like, yes, strictly TikTok, like, that's what most people have, but YouTube Shorts, like, I'm not even exaggerating here, is getting double the views I get on TikTok right now. And
really,
I don't know. Yeah. Like, I think last week, every single video I posted went viral. Like the whole week I hit 100K, I think 3 weeks ago, and or 2.5 weeks ago, and I'm at 120 now. Like last week was crazy. So we're trying to keep building off of that, but yeah, now brands are coming for the YouTube Shorts now, like, hey, can you actually put this here instead? And I'm like, like, yeah, we can.
Yeah, we're gonna have to run up the price a little bit.
Yeah. But I definitely have not fully taken advantage of my audience on YouTube Shorts yet.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, you and I can connect after the call, and I would love to hear more about ways that we can help, like, with these integrations. So I got one more question. Being like, I come from I'd say athletic background. Like my whole family is into sports. All like, my brothers, my dad, like they're all health and phys ed teachers. I went to school for health and phys ed. Like we grew up just playing sports. It's just I've learned so many lessons from like teamwork to like work ethic to just like positions you have to play in the team, like and like I've learned so much stuff from that world that I applied to my professional career and being a creator. I'm curious, like what's something that you learned from your athletic background that applies to how you think about being a creator?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think a lot of what I've learned is, I think a lot of it correlates. I think the biggest thing, if I had to pick one, was my college coach preached every day about urgency, like urgency in every single thing you do. And I've kind of taken that into, with my content, like urgency, like, okay, a story just hit, like I need to be the first one to get this video up, or
Action.
I want to, like, I want to be great. Like, I want to do it. So I need to be urgent with that in every action. Everything needs to be deliberate in what I do and have some sort of purpose. So I think urgency overall, as a creator and really in any profession, like you come with urgency, you'll be successful in whatever you want to do.
And what about you have like any sort of competitive edge?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it gets me going if I scroll through, like I'm scrolling through my For You page.
Yeah.
I see another sports creator, and I'm like, dang, they've got 1 million followers. Like,
yeah.
Like, dang, how can I make it so at least my videos are better? Like,
dude,
there's always that drive.
Dude, there is, and I think that's good to tap into. I think that's like if you use it in a way that adds value, and it doesn't you don't get too caught up into it. It can be something that like gives you a little bit of edge and focus.
Definitely,
bro. Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. I love your story. I'm excited to see you continue to build this brand and keep telling these stories and connecting with an audience in such an amazing way.
I appreciate your time, man. This has been awesome, and I can't wait for a part 2.